The internet wasn't supposed to hear IT'd, and oh one, absolutely no one, expected a private audio recording to surface online at 2:37 a.m. Korea Standard Time, instantly sending shockwaves through social media. IT started with a single anonymous post, an O caption, an O explanation, just one file titled V_real talk_leak. MP3 within minutes. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag Taehyung leak, hashtag Jungkook mentioned, hashtag BTS private audio, hashtag is this relay armwise flooded X, TikTok, and YouTube with reactions. Some were confused, some panicked, and others refused to believe it. People replayed the audio over and over again, slowing it down, cleaning it, enhancing it, trying to confirm if the voice truly belonged to Kim Taehyung. And then, at 0:32 seconds into the clip, a line echoed that sent the entire fandom spiraling. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Jungkook. The room went silent. The world went loud. Fans couldn't breathe. Comment sections exploded with theories. What did he mean? Why was this recorded? Who leaked this? Is Jungkook okay? Before anyone could form a solid conclusion, the clip cut off abruptly, leaving a haunting silence behind IT. IT was the kind of leak that didn't just cause chaos. IT rewrote the internet for the next 24 hours. But to understand the truth behind the recording, we have to rewind to where it all began. 2 weeks before the leak, Taehyung had been seen leaving a private recording studio in Hanam-dong. Normally, that wouldn't be unusual. Taehyung constantly works on new music, creative projects, and collaborations. But that day felt different. He looked tired. His shoulders were slightly tense. He had headphones around his neck and a phone in his hand, as if replaying something deeply personal. Several fans who ran into him described him as polite, gentle, still smiling but quiet, like he was thinking a lot. Later, insiders claimed that he had spent hours inside the studio, not recording music, but talking openly, talking honestly, talking about things he rarely discussed in public. And yes, Jungkook's name came up. Sources said Taehyung had been working on a reflective project, something raw, unfiltered, and deeply personal. It wasn't intended for release, it wasn't a statement, and it definitely wasn't meant for public ears. He was simply venting, talking like a friend, processing emotions and memories from the past few years. There was no drama and no scandal, just a young man speaking truthfully about someone important in his life. But here's where things get complicated. Someone in that building, someone with access, someone who shouldn't have been recording, captured a portion of Taehyung's private monologue, and 2 weeks later, it ended up online. But the real question wasn't how it leaked. It was, why was Jungkook mentioned so clearly? Let's dive deeper. When fans first heard the line, "I'm talking about Jungkook," they assumed the worst: drama, conflict, tension. But what if the truth was completely different? Let's break down the leaked audio. The full 33-second clip contains the sound of Taehyung sitting down, soft reverb from studio walls, a quiet sigh, a shift of clothes, calm, steady voice. Not angry, not upset in the background. There's faint instrumental music, something jazzy and warm, like Taehyung's personal playlist. Then his voice. People misunderstand so much. And I'm tired of clearing things up. A pause, breathing, to a slight laugh, the kind Taehyung makes when he's frustrated, but not in a serious way. No, I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about Jungkook. That's the line that went viral. That's the moment the internet froze. But what came after? The part that wasn't leaked might change everything. Multiple insiders say Taehyung was not calling out Jungkook in a negative way. He was defending him. Apparently, he was responding to a staff member's comment about fans misinterpreting their interactions. Taehyung was explaining that rumors often twisted their friendship into something completely different. He was clarifying, honoring the bond, protecting someone he cares about like a brother. One staff member later described it as, Taehyung wasn't angry at Jungkook. He was frustrated at how people misunderstood their closeness. Another insider claimed, if the full audio was released, everyone would see how much respect he has for Jungkook. But the internet didn't have the full clip. They only had 33 seconds, without context. And in the world of social media, context is everything. The clip was real, the voice was real, the moment was real, but the interpretation, completely wrong. The moment the leak hit social media, ARMY fractured into three groups, each reacting in their own intense way. Group 1. The worried ones. These were the fans who panicked instantly. Is Taehyung upset with Jungkook? Are they fighting? Why didn't HYB respond yet? Millions of comments poured in within the first hour. TikTok edits appeared with anxious music, grainy footage, and captions like, "What's happening to them?" This feels serious. For many fans, the uncertainty felt personal, like witnessing confusion between two people they deeply admired. This group acted like detectives. They slowed down the audio. They filtered the noise. They compared his breathing patterns to past live streams. They even studied the room echo to figure out which studio he was in. Some fans posted diagrams, voice analysis graphs, and time-stamped breakdowns of every second. Others reconstructed the acoustics using virtual studio models. One viral post read, "This wasn't filmed during conflict. The tone is calm. He's clarifying something, not starting something." These fans were determined to find the truth. Even if they had to play detective all night, to them, the entire clip was suspicious. It's edited. It's AI. No way Taehyung would say this. Even after audio engineers confirmed the clip was authentic, this group held on. They believed that without full context, the clip was meaningless, and that trusting a leak was unfair. One ARMY post reached 500K likes. If Taehyung wanted us to hear this, he would have said it himself. And you know what? That was a point even the other groups had to admit. If Taehyung mentioned Jungkook in a private moment, there had to be more behind it, and that mystery, that unknown intention, was what fueled theories across the global fandom. The internet went crazy for 48 straight hours, but behind the scenes, something else was happening, something the public didn't know yet. Taehyung himself had already heard about the leak, and his reaction surprised everyone. When the leak went viral, Taehyung didn't post anything. He didn't go live. He didn't release a statement. Instead, insiders say he simply raised his eyebrows, laughed quietly, and said, so that's what they posted? No anger, no shock. Just a calm understanding that the internet had once again blown something out of proportion. A staff member in the room recalled. He wasn't worried about himself. He was worried about how Jungkook would feel. That's why the first thing Taehyung did was pull out his phone. Not to call a manager, not to call his company, but to call Jungkook. What happened during that phone call became a story of its own. The conversation was short, around 5 minutes, but meaningful. Taehyung explained the context. Jungkook listened quietly. And at the end, Jungkook replied with just one line. "Hyung, it's okay. I know you." 6 simple words that silenced every rumor. According to someone present, Taehyung exhaled in relief. It wasn't a dramatic moment. It wasn't emotional. It was simply two people who trusted each other, reaffirming that trust. But even though Jungkook wasn't bothered, Taehyung was determined to clear things up, in his own way and on his own terms. He wasn't going to release a statement. He wasn't going to defend himself online. That wasn't his style. Instead, he planned something else. Something subtle, something real, the message for fans. Without ever needing to explain the leak directly, and that moment happened sooner than anyone expected. While Taehyung stayed quiet, Jungkook did something that shocked everyone. He went live, and teasered, and schedule, and warning, just a sudden notification. Jungkook has started a live broadcast. Millions of fans joined instantly, comments flying faster than the screen could load. Is the leak real? Are you okay? Did Taehyung really say that? Everyone expected Jungkook to address the situation head-on, but he didn't. Instead, he appeared in a simple hoodie, hair slightly messy, sipping water like nothing unusual had happened. He smiled softly at the camera, a genuine, calm smile, and said, "I saw you all worrying again." He shook his head with a tiny laugh. "You don't need to." He didn't mention the leak. He didn't mention Taehyung. He didn't mention anyone's name, but his tone carried the message clearly. There's nothing wrong. Stop stressing. Throughout the live stream, he kept things light, humming songs, talking about food, answering random questions, and reminding fans to rest and drink water. But there was one moment, one small, spontaneous gesture that made the fandom explode. Jungkook picked up his phone. He glanced at the screen. He laughed. Then he said, Taehyung Hyung. And that was it. He didn't elaborate. He didn't explain. He just said the name naturally, casually, like it was the most normal thing in the world. And to fans, that was enough. It was the simplest way to say, "We're fine." For 2 days, the internet spun in circles. Theories multiplied like wildfire, and speculation was louder than facts. But behind the scenes, something big was quietly happening. Someone who had heard the entire recording, not just the leaked 33 seconds, decided to speak up, not by posting the full audio, not by leaking more files,